Welcome back to Management 291 Strategic Management. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 5 Strategies in Action. So, what are we going to be talking about? Let me just really give you a quick overview. Make sure you print out my concept maps, read the book, complete software that's included with the publisher. So you're all ready, and then we should be going. Remember, this is just going to be a quick overview. This chapter has a lot of information here, but you'll do well. So we're going to talk about long-term objectives, different types of strategies that you're going to be exposed to, integration strategies, intensive strategies, diversification strategies, defensive strategies, Michael Porter's 5 generic strategies, means for achieving these strategies at a company, and 9 reasons why mergers and acquisitions fail. It's almost like a marriage or some kind of a combination, two companies to take their assets and combine them to be stronger. 11 potential benefits of merging with or acquiring another firm. Okay, and 5 strategic management in nonprofit and governmental. Basically, looks more at small business firms. So you're taking me either on a face-to-face class, strictly online, or a blended class, or your instructors usually utilizing this video to give you a quick overview. All right, so let's look at some long-term objectives. Remember, we're looking strategically from our organization. It's from 2 to 5 years going forward. Okay, so what we're looking at, I'm not going to go through everything else. So the results, you want the company to grow, or if you're taking me for finance, the company's struggling. How are we going to turn this organization around going forward? So you're going to first have to come up with characteristics. So result. Let me look at this. 2 to 5 year frame. Desired characteristics. What do you really want to accomplish? It has to be. Remember, we talked about the SMART goals before. Specific, measurable, realistic, attainable. Um, so you're looking at quantitative, measurable, realistic, understandable, challenging, theoretical, attainable, and concurrent across department. When you set up strategic goals going forward, you basically have to be able to. So it's like a trickle effect going downward. I know they talked about the inverted pyramid going upward, but now you're in management and you bring down those goals. So every department has to focus in on that objective that the organization wants to turn around going forward. The top comes up with the ideas or the goals after it negotiates with all its middle and first line supervisor. And a lot of times the employees are involved in more of the modern and more the receptive type of an organization. Everyone in the organization has some input in there. So yes, we agree with these goals. Nature of long-term objectives, provide directions, and basically reduce uncertainty. You're doing something with your organization because of external and internal factors. You're looking at different designs. You may be reorganizing the organization. You may need different type of talent. Because of the merger, like we're talking something else, you may bring some other kind of abilities into the organization. And how do I make that part of the whole total culture going forward? Okay. And then financial and strategic objectives. Like it or not, it's all about the money. What are some financial objectives? And I'll bring that up in here. Let me make this a little bit larger here. And I'm trying to keep this underneath at least 40 minutes, 150. That's what we had before. And those of you who had me before, we are live. I don't cut anything. Okay, here's a little bit easier. It's even easier for me. Okay, includes growth in revenue earnings, larger profit margin, or maybe just sustainable because the company is down at least for the next 2 years. Could we at least break even? And the bottom line, the stockholder. How do we raise the stock? And that depends on the performance of the organization. And the organization, remember, the human capital, your people, the people you hire, is your strongest, is the bloodline of your or life force of your company. Okay, and then we're going to look at strategic objectives. You want to grab a larger market, maybe on-time delivery. You have to be better than your competition. You're doing very well, and now a new competitor came in. New laws came in. All of a sudden, you've got more people trying, say, hey, I can make some money off of this product or this service that I, as an organization, are, what do you call it, selling, either goods or services, okay? new improved products ahead of our rivals. They only have a short window because the rivals or your competitors, when they see that you're being profitable, they're going to jump on that wagon. All of a sudden, they're going to say, hey, what could we want a piece of pie. So you have to be the first one in to get your, like we talked last a couple of chapters ago, get your name out, your brand, your quality, and now you have the loyal followings. Avoid not managing the objectives. Okay, so what you don't want to do is managing objectives through exploitation, through crisis, managing subjectively. I think this is what I need. You know what I mean? Managing by hope. I hope it's going to work out well. Let's not do nothing. No, you have to have a plan. A plan going forward, how you're going to succeed, but you have to know a vision where you want to be. All your employees have to understand that. Not only your employees, your stockholders, your shareholders, everyone that's involved in the company. I see where this organization is going forward. Okay? And then table viewing. And again, we got the table, the corporate, the vision function. So it just breaks it down by different levels within the strategy, within any corporation. From, you know, a smaller organization, you still have the same levels, but not as many individuals involved in that process. It's easier to manage. The problem is when you're a larger company, a big corporation, how do I change this whole company around? It's not that hard. When you look at a ship, or a boat, depends if you're in the Navy. Basically, that big boat, what steers it? It's a little rudder, turns that whole boat all over. This is what your strategic plan is. A big organization is that vision, that niche. Here's what we want to do, and you focus on that. And then, you know, I mean, just to be for survival or going into that different area or market you're trying to do. Okay, now we're going to look at different strategies. Now, this one here, when I look at this, you're looking, again, it breaks it down by division, you know, chief officer. It's the pyramid, you know, smaller companies, but they still have the same, you just eliminate like one of the division, but you still have some function and operational level. You remember we discussed this in our lectures, in our discussion. Read the book, makes it a little clearer. I'm trying just to give you a quick overview. Now, they have different strategies. I'm going to break this down. Now, integration strategies. Now, what does that mean? You're going to have forward integration, backward integration, horizontal. Then you have intensive integration, market penetration. How do I get into the? These are all different strategies or a combination. What you're going to find out, it could be a combination of two. You may not be able to succeed all. That's way too much to do. You do a little for the first 2 years or 5 years. You know, 5 years is a long time. Usually within 2 years, and the next 2 years you change phase one, phase two, phase three. But which ones are the most important for you now? A combination of two: product development and you know, and then diversification strategy, related diversification, unrelated diversification. I mean, if it's something that I'm diversifying through my own core competency or my own basic business, it's easy to manage. If it's something that's outside, I may just look at because I want to increase my cash flow. So I have certain aspects of business I'm taking up. I'm not as it's not part of my product mix, but it's a cash flow coming in, stream cash flow. So it's unrelated. That means I have to basically, and you look at some companies will buy other companies that doesn't make sense to them, but they're looking at down the road maybe selling it, or they need cash, or they got a good deal on this. So it's like your financial portfolio. You have a little stocks, a little bonds, but if you're looking at when you're looking at your companies, you may have, you don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket, you know, unless that's your for lack of better words, your core mission you want, but you may have something on the side just in case this slows down. At least I have some stream of income coming in. You know, and then your defensive strategy basically is retrenchment, diversitor, basically guidelines, liquidation. Liquidation means you're going bankrupt. You're just trying to, hey, I'm getting rid of. And that could be one part of the operation you're liquidating, not the whole process. If I'm looking at Sears and, for lack of better words, and Kmart, Kmart is done. Sears still has some life to it because it got the brand name. It has the used to have the catalog. So I may liquidate everything of Kmart and take that as loss, even though we're married. Get rid of that and just focus more on, for lack of better words, on Sears. Okay. And then let's see. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just giving this over because we got more. Okay, so now what's going to happen? Everything you want to know, I've got this all broken down, is going to be in this chart. Level strategies, 5.2. Let's see if I got this. Looking at that one. Okay, here it is. When I start the integration, everything I want is going to be in this table, these two tables. So let's just look at it real quickly. When I'm looking at forward integration, I'm looking at ownership, increased control over distributors or what do you call it, retailers. In the book, remember, this is out of the book. Amazon began rapid delivery services in some U.S. cities. Now they're everywhere. Amazon now is basically into the food. So that's another myth. So they started off with a core model to be the best online. Now they're starting taking up other markets that they might not, that fresh food, organic, okay, backward integration, seeking ownership, or increased control from supply. Walmart's trying to do that. If you look at their logistics, they basically, some of the stuff they buy out as underneath their label, other stuff they basically purchase the suppliers, and now they have a better control of the quality and the costs. Okay, Starbucks purchased a coffee farm. Okay, horizontal integration, seeking ownership or increased control over competitors. Do I buy them out? And sometimes, if you look at it, a lot of food industries, they're under one umbrella, but the competitors are competing. Like if I get KFC and I don't know, what do you call it? I can't think of the fish place. You know what I mean? Okay, they basically just brought out some of the under Yum Food. So they got different competitors out there, but they're still in the eatery or the restaurant business. And the author on this one looked at the BBTC acquires Shiquan band shares. Okay, now market penetration, seeking increased market share, presented products or services in the present markets through greater marketing. So I know my competitors are there, but I'm doing a better job or higher quality. I'm trying to take away from my competitor. If you look at the course management system we're using at a lot of community colleges, Blackboard, small, they started buying out their competitors and took the aspects that they didn't have to develop and just put it into theirs. So Blackboard is growing larger, and less competitors to become a monopoly. Which is, it depends if the government comes in. Not right now because there's other course management systems. But if they get too large, Microsoft too large, who's a competitor? They do have other competitors, very small number. Okay, okay. Under Armour signed tennis champion. Let's see. Okay, Andy Murray to a 4-year, 23 million marketing deal. Okay, market development. Research and development, introducing present products or services into a new geographic area. I saturated it, and it could be international. Right now, they just said geographic. Gap opened its first 5 stores in China. Now, does that work in WoW? Strategically, say, hey, that's perfect. The new administration, now they're putting a tariff because they're talking about reciprocal tariff. So if they're putting a certain percentage of tariffs on goods coming into the China, we're going to the goods coming from China to the U.S. are going to be added to the same amount. Could that affect my strategic plan of open up more, or could I have a negative ramification in China open up a gap? Yes or no? It depends which products China is going to go after, which administration will put a point. And eventually, look, China, like it or not, we buy a lot of products from China. They're going to come out there because they have to show face, but down the road they're going to find that common platform that both will agree because it's in both economies' best interest. Okay. Now the other one is product development, seeking increased sales by improving present products or services, developing new ones. Amazon just began offering its own line of baby diapers and wipes. And again, this was a few years since the author. Amazon also is now into organic food and by purchasing whole food, just to keep you current. Okay, now the other one is related diversification, added new but related products or services. Facebook acquired text messaging from WhatsApp for $19 billion. Facebook is having a little bit issue because if they were, remember, their whole model was basically selling personal information, but without individuals knowing. Even though we clicked on the terms and condition, and it worked against some campaigns because now my personal information, they know more about me than the government knows about me. Is that proper? Or I mean, I'm saying so. Now, if you look at Facebook, their stocks have taken a hit, and you should know when Zuckerberg is basically selling some of his shares before the news came out. He got rid of a lot, like $5 billion worth of shares. Okay, so that's a little issue there. Okay, unrelated diversification added new unrelated products or services. Kroger and Whole Foods markets are cooking meals becoming restaurants. That may change a little bit because Amazon basically bought them out. But if you go to Kroger's not around this area or down south, but if you go around here, Whole Food, go around lunchtime, they got a whole restaurant there. People come there for lunch. They have their deli, and now they're making it a certain area because that's I'm going to come in there. They already had the food, so they already have this the fresh produce or everything else. Now they're turning around and making a full stand restaurant. Instead of waiting in line for the deli, they're opening up a whole area and they're going to have it. That makes sense. But remember now, does the strategic plan change because Amazon purchased them up? Maybe, maybe not. Amazon may want to get into that also. Okay, to being competitive with Kroger. Okay, now reentrenchment, regrouping through cost and asset reduction to reverse the declining sales and profit. Staple closed 250 stores and reduced by 50% the size of their other store. What they did, a lot of people were coming to the walkthrough. They were making more of their money selling directly to businesses. So they had to reduce something. So you're looking at what they're doing is re-entrenchment. They're regrouping the costs. Which stores are profitable, which aren't. You're looking at Macy's, some of the larger stores, because of the mall, the traffic stop. So now they have smaller footprints, smaller stores, and have a catalog. So they're taking the same product, just formatting it, how they're going to be presenting it, how the customers could make connection with it strategically. Right now, you're like, oh my God, I'm used to but things change. You see what I'm talking about? Over time, in the next 5 years, you'll just say this is normal. And I'm looking at some of the stores. I see a little store Macy's go in there, basically more for the cosmetics, everything else. That's a high profit margin, lower customer, but you can still buy stuff or even pick up stuff there at their stores with no shipping. That could change because Amazon basically does a lot of shipping right to the house, so they may have to come up with some idea with that and ship directly to your home. Okay? Okay, now selling a division or a part of an organization. Sears Holding divested its lands and division to Sears shareholders. So it got rid of some part. It's also sold some of its craftsman's tool. Used to be only at Sears, now they're selling them all over. The brand name is what's going after that. Liquidation, selling all the company's assets in parts for their tangible work. Trump Tijama in Atlantic City, New Jersey faces liquidation. Sears is also liquidating some of its profitable real estate office stores because they're making money to keep afloat. Okay? So that's basically, if you look at this, remember, this is just a quick overview. And then if I look at all of these here, I just open up to some people like looking at that. I'm not going to talk about it. I covered everything else that's in here. You see where I'm at? Stop me, look at this. Okay, and it's got all your information, product development, and then the guidelines. Look at the book. The guidelines are excellent. You know what I mean? It tells you. Remember, we covered all this in our discussion, so I don't want to spend a whole. Oops, make that up. I don't want to freeze it up. All right, but I know some of the students say, "Could I look at this?" So you have everything you have in here. I have it open. Look at it. Read it. Remember, you also have the information to the PowerPoints and to the ebook. Everything's in there. This is a lot of information. I just put it in there. Okay, defensive. Some of you want to look at it. All this is out of your book. I just basically mirror your publisher information and put it into more of an outlining thing so you could write it down. When you're writing this down, get rid of all this. Like I'm just say, look at what I'm doing on here. I'd get rid of this. I'm trying to show you. Those who do concept maps go like this. Okay, plagued by inefficiency. Okay, lawful, and that basically gives you the same thing. All right, all right. So now I'm going to finish that. Okay, I'll give you the rest of these. All right, so you have all this information. Liquidation, selling company's assets. Again, the guidelines are real in here. I'm going fast because there's no reason for me to go through the whole lecture. Part of the whole thing is this is a summarization. Now let's go into Powder's 5 generic strategies. This is what we're looking at. And here's the model. Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 5. Again, the one's cost leadership, cost leader, low cost. The other one's cost leadership, best value. Okay, differentiate what makes your product different. The other one is focus on low cost and best value. And that's all this is. And so on two, they talk about low cost, producing standardized products at a very low per unit cost. Type 1 is low cost, offers products or services, a wide range of customers, the lowest possible available on the market. And if I look at that, I think Walmart would fall into that. You could get the best prices at Walmart, but not the selection. Okay? And then type 3 strategy is aimed at producing products and services considered unique industry-wide direct at consumers who are relatively very price insensitive. So I could charge them a little bit more. And then focus strategy, again, offer products to customers, sorry, you're live, I'll make the correction. Offer products or services to a niche of, you like it when I'm live, don't you, class? I'm trying to get this in because there's a lot of information. I want to say there's so much in here. Don't worry if you don't remember all of it. Just focus on the main point. So that's why I turn it all off except the main point. Type 5, so you should know the different types. This is just added fluff, for lack of a better word. Okay, I got to do type 5. Type 4 is low cost focus. Type 5, best value for your money. Okay? And if you look at the chart, it tells you where you're at and strategically which ones. You may want to do cost and differentiation, type 1 and 2 together. Remember, it's always a combination. Okay, so the next one we have means for achieving these strategies. Oops, what happened here? Okay, you could get it through a cooperation with competitors, not price fixing. Okay, joint venture partnership to another company, like a marriage. Merger or acquisition could be hostile or friendly, because two small. Look at Whole Foods and Amazon. They not merged. They were basically brought out by one, so it's like an acquisition, closer to marriage. All right, private equity acquisitions. First mover advantages in outsourcing or reshoring. You get the information from overseas. What's happening because of the current administration, more companies are coming in here because of the tariffs and everything else. We are still a vital market. We still have, even though China has 1 point so many billion, India has another 1.5 billion. So you're looking at about 3 billion people there. You want to be in that market, but do they have the available cash for their economies to grow? They have the upper and the middle class is is growing, but now will it grow more? The U.S. already has uh, ability, that financial ability. So companies are coming back in here and start trying to, take the tax breaks and everything else, and that's the strategic. When you look at reshoring, they're coming back in here, or what I would consider inshoring, especially the companies were American companies or U.S.-based companies, and they went outside to do all the manufacturing, cut the cost. Now it's to their benefit, because of taxes or whatever. Now it's to their benefit to come back and hit the market here that still has that cash flow, the ability to pay or buy my products. Okay, 9 reasons why mergers fail. Okay, integration difficulties, right, just like a marriage, inadequate evaluation of target markets. You think you're going to make a money because they sold you a bill of goods, and they didn't, so you have to do a little more research. Large or extraordinary debt. Mine or the other company, if I look at Sears and Kmart, they're both having trouble, so it was a bad marriage happened, so they just had more debt, more, what I mean, they worked well in the short run, but not in the long run. Inability to achieve synergy. That means the companies, when you come together, you look at couples and look at marriage. Some companies, they come together, they just mesh, they work well. Other marriages, people, they it's never connected, never worked out. It was a bad agreement or a bad merger. Okay, too large an acquisition. It was out of control. Too large. Forget the government with a monopoly. It was just too big. I tried to take on too much at one time. Difficult to integrate different organizational culture. Remember, when you're buying a diversification or other companies, they all have, every company that you look at has their own culture. Some of the cultures will work, and the cultures are the people inside, the manager. Even if you replace the management, you still have to have people. We were more customer friendly. The other ones, hey, we didn't care. We're just pushing out the number. So you have to look at that. Reduce employee morale due to layoff and relocation. When you bring up to that, you don't need all that, so you're going to have to cut some of the organization. Some people have to go, and a lot of times they're not the company that's purchasing, because you might purchase the other company. They have a better call center, better manufacturing footprint, better quality of products. So I'm going to get rid of mine. I may bring some in, but I'm going to get rid of. And a lot of times it's like anything else. I bring two organizations together that have a large organization. I got to get rid of some of the stuff, and it may be effect on both of it. So it may take a 1 year or two to redevelop that culture, redevelop that working, that synergy, or it may never work because it was too large one, or too large of a company, and they're fighting head. I used to work for ComEd, so when they brought up other organizations, oops, that's me. I got a meeting in a little bit, but we're doing fine. That's why I was kind of rushing on this one. I wanted to get this through, but we're all right. Okay. Okay. 11 potential benefits for merging with or acquiring a company. So this was why they fail. Okay. Now the other things: improve capacity utilization, economies of scale. I don't have the capacity. I want to get large. If you look at contractors, construction, I just wanted you to see there's only so many large construction to work on a large project. So one or two, one of them gets the, for lack of a better word, gets the bid. But there's no way in heck that organization has enough of enough of the equipment to basically do the job. So then they contract out or they merge with another organization. Could be for a short term or for a long term. They have some kind of a partnership. Make better use of existing sales force. Remember, your sales force, you try not to outsource your sales force because the sales force you want is so they give the message of your organization and they understand your product and they're loyal to your product. Reduce the managerial staff. I don't need all those layers. Most companies are becoming more flatter. We talked about that in earlier season. To smooth out seasonal trends in sales. So I may open up someplace down south or someplace up here. Here's more than winter, so I can't sell some of the product, but I could sell a different part of the country or a different part of, or another country, which makes sense. Okay. Gain new technology. Like it or not, if I'm looking, access to new suppliers, distribution, because they already have contractual agreement or locations or manufacturing plants already established. Now they just have to retool to carry my products. Customers or creditors, because that's part of the deal when I get married or a merger or acquisition on this here. Gain new technology from another organization. Gain the market share because they're already there in that market, and now I'm expanding mine by going there, having a merger with a similar company or a new product. Enter global markets. We're already in global. Most companies, larger or small, or you may be going to a larger company. How do I get into China? China is hard to get in there, so I have a merger, not a merger, or I have a partnership with a company there, and then basically sell our products. Okay, gain pricing power, economies of scale, reduce tax obligations. Okay, and the last one here is kind of really quick. It's a nonprofit and small firms, secure access to commitments to rare resources. They may have that one company, as you mentioned. I may not have that technology or that app, so I basically have a strategic alliance or a merger or acquisition because I still have some money and they're willing to sell to me with the brand name, and we're out there. PayPal did that with Amazon on that, but they still kept the PayPal, so you figure, oh, I still belong with PayPal. Gain new knowledge of critical success factors and issue. Gain market share and position in the best locations. Establish secure long-term relationship with customers, suppliers, and investors. I start off small. I'm a business. There's another business similar or something that I want that complements my product line. I will merge with him or that business. Say, hey, could we come up to alliance? Could we form a larger company? That's how companies grow. These multinationals, they just grow. Look at Blackboard. All the other stuff they're doing, course management. They started off small. They bought another course management. They didn't keep all of it. They kept the parts of it that they didn't have, but they already had the technology and they already worked out the bugs, and that's what they're known for. And they start growing. And there's where we're at. Gain customer loyalty and commitment. How you do that is when you merge, you still keep the same product line of that customer and your own, and then over time you slowly change the name. Remember, it's a strategic plan, not right away because they say, "Hey, never heard of you. Who are you? You're bought out by so and so." They know they're working together. They know what's going on, and you introduce. It's like you introduce your new mate or your new relationship in an everyday. I always look the relationship, my new wife or husband or partner, slowly to the rest of the family, slowly to the world, and then they get used to them, and then all of a sudden now we're just going to do a name change. It makes sense, or keep both names together. A lot of ladies when they get married or men that get married, they'll still keep because they already have their reputation, their name. They'll keep the husband, their own maiden name, and their new husband's or wife's name together with a hyphen, so they're both together. But now, and then over time, they may just change it or keep it together or drop one over the other. All right, whew, that was a lot of information, but we did pretty good. Remember, this is just a quick overview. So I've showed you everything. Always stop this video and look at it. And if you want other resources, you have it inside the book with the reading, the software. The authors has specific short YouTube on specific areas they want to expand. I'm just giving you a quick general information over everything through this mind map, concept map. Let's see, expand, and I just want to close this. So what do we learn? Long-term objectives, 2 to 5 years, different types of strategies, and it basically ties in this: integration, intensive, diversification, defensive, Porter's generic strategies. These are very specific. How do I achieve these strategies? Things to look out for, pitfalls, potential benefits of merging or acquiring, and 5 strategic management for small firms. Most companies will take a couple of these that make sense, and then phase 1, and then do phase 2 and phase 3. All right, so my name is Dr. Jordan Mochocki. I went a little bit faster, running a little bit behind here because I have another meeting I got to go to, but I wanted to at least get this one real quick overview video. Remember, stop me, look at it. I opened up everything else so you could take your notes. I don't have to go through it. It's just more of a summarization, and I'll see you in Chapter 6. And have a nice day. Bye. Let's see how many minutes I got on here. 31 minutes. I made it in an hour, half an hour. Just probably one of my first. But I'll try to slow down a little bit going forward. There's just a lot of information. I could spend in the classroom or lectures. We spend a lot of time discussing all this. This is just a capstone. Okay.